Desmond Howard, I hope you're doing well. Welcome to Tuscaloosa, Alabama.
Hey, thank you very much, man. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. I want to get your thoughts on a lot of different things around college football, but 7 games into the Crimson Tide schedule. What do you think about the Crimson Tide so far?
I think that at this point they're playing the best football right now that we've seen. They've had their moments of struggle. Obviously, the Ole Miss game was a heck of a game, and they showed some signs of weakness, but they still prevailed. A tough game against a very formidable opponent on the road, opponent that they lost to the 2 previous years. So I thought that was a resilient performance by the Tide, and young Jalen Hurts seemed to have grown up in front of our eyes in that game. So right now the defense is playing probably like the 96 Packers at this point. They're taking care of their business, and so everything looks rosy right now. But hey, it's a long season; anything can happen. So I think that when you've been in this position before, like a Nick Saban, then you know that you still got to proceed with caution. You can't get too optimistic. You can't get overconfident. And that's the good thing about having a guy like Nick Saban as your leader, as your head coach, because he's been in this situation before, and he knows how to navigate through all the things that could bring a team like Alabama down.
And I'm sure you're probably going to see it, and you have a chance to be given a lot of access on Friday to these players. I thought there would be a hangover from 49-10, beating Tennessee in their place, a big rivalry game. But on Monday, when we had a chance to talk with 5 different players, each one of them in their own kind of way talked about, well, we got to clean up this mistake, this mistake, this mistake. We missed this block, this assignment. That's not human nature. To me, that's a credit back to Coach Saban and sort of the psychology side that he uses to get these players motivated each and every week.
Yeah, he just supported what I said 100%. That's what it is with Coach Saban. He understands what it takes to perform at the Crimson Tide standard. They have their own standard. And he has these guys believing that this is our standard. So when they don't meet that standard week in and week out, despite the score, it's not even about the final score. It's about the standard by which you're trying to perform week in and week out. If you don't meet that standard, then you go back, you look at the film, you try to make those corrections. I'm reading a book right now by the late, great Bill Walsh, considered by many as the greatest NFL coach ever. And the name of the book is The Score Takes Care of Itself. So that lets you know if you do all the small things, you do everything that's required of you to live up or to play up to our standards of play, then the score will take care of itself. So those kids, they're not worried about the final score of that Tennessee game that you speak of. They're more concerned with playing up to a standard, and that's why they responded to you or whoever they were talking to the way they did about missing blocks and missing this assignment and that assignment, because they want to play up to a higher standard.
When you're able to look at the non-offensive touchdowns, that's one of the things that stands out about this team. They now have more non-offensive touchdowns. They did all of last year, 11 right now, whether we're talking about special teams returns. But when they get the football on a turnover, they're looking to take it to the end zone. How much goes into that? Because Nick Saban said, I'm not telling you what we're doing because that's a coaching secret. But when you notice that, is there something that you can see different of how they're creating all these great turnovers? And then not only get the turnovers, but then taking it to the house.
It's a mentality. It's a mentality, and it's something that's practiced every day when they go on the field. And I haven't been at their practices, so I cannot tell you what they do, but it's definitely a mentality. It's something that they pay a lot of attention to. It's something that's emphasized on the field and in the meeting rooms and when they watch film. So things don't happen like that by accident. Okay, their designs happen by the way you practice and by the way you study film. So it's no surprise to me that the coaches answered, Nick Saban answered you guys the way he did. Yeah, this is not just some fluke. Hey man, this guy just you can watch the player's body language. Whenever a player picks up a fumble or gets an interception, just watch his teammates, watch the guys around him. they immediately start to look for folks to block so they can take it to the house.
Desmond, I'm going to give you anything you want on the offensive side of the football. Any play, any design, any quarterback in the league, if you want to go there. How would you, in your offensive mind, attack this defense if you were given the flexibility of designing a game plan?
I would attack them by I would have to take some deep shots down the field. You have to these guys to respect your ability to run past them. If you can get behind the secondary, it poses problems for any defense, especially a Nick Saban defense, because they take pride in keeping everything in front of them. They believe they have the athletes that can track down any ball, that no guy can get behind them deep, and plus they think schematically. Any game that they go into, they always think from a schematic standpoint, they have an advantage. So I would try secondary and get some chunk plays as often as possible.
Can Texas A&M and Trevor Knight have that success inside Bryant-Denny Stadium?
I believe they will. I believe they will have some success. I think that you got to look at, Trevor Knight, and I'm sure you guys have talked about on the show a lot now. He was the quarterback of Oklahoma when they beat Nick Saban in Alabama in the Sugar Bowl. I believe that was 2012. So, he's had some experience beating a Nick Saban team. So that with that type of experience comes some sort of confidence. He's the leading rusher as a quarterback in the SEC. His backfield mate, Trevion Williams, is the leading rusher in the SEC. So they have a pretty good 1-2 tandem as far as running the ball is concerned. But they've never faced a defense thus far this season, at least, like an Alabama defense. So this is going to be a really good matchup. A&M's ability to run the ball against Alabama's ability to stop the run defensively, and then they got some guys out wide. They got some skill position players too, who can get deep. So it should be a really, really interesting chess match.
I know we're a couple of weeks away from college football playoff rankings being released, but give me your four right now. What do you think is as Desmond Howard's first four?
Well, I think the four is just the usual cast of characters we got right now. I don't think that there's any surprises. I guess you can try to put Washington up there, maybe interchangeable with Clemson, but you got Alabama, Ohio State, Michigan. I mean, those are just the top three, no matter what anyone says. And then, do you want to put Clemson at 4? I know they dropped a notch because of the game against North Carolina State that they really should have lost. I mean, the field goal kicker just missed a chip shot. So anyway, it went overtime and Clemson pulled it out. But then you may want to flop them with Washington. A lot of people have been very impressed with Washington, but their marquee wins so far has come against two teams that not playing really good football right now. I mean, Stanford isn't yesterday's or yesteryear's Stanford. They're just not. Bad situation with the quarterback. There's been a carousel right now. Starting two corners have been out. Past couple of weeks, they've been picked on defensively. So Stanford, and then of course Christian McCaffrey. He's been banged up too, so he hasn't been the McCaffrey of a year ago. And then Oregon. Oregon's the Washington Huskies' big rivalry. But I mean, Oregon's coach, is on the hot seat right now. People are speculating whether he's going to make it through the season or if he's going to be the Ducks coach next year. So those are their two big wins so far. But they've handled their business, so you may want to put Washington up there or not. But I think, when you look at Alabama, Ohio State, and Michigan, mainstays right now today, and then I guess you could put Clemson in there too.
We are talking right now to Desmond Howard, and we finish up the conversation. ESPN College Game Day coming to Tuscaloosa here for another trip to Tuscaloosa. I mean, you guys come to Tuscaloosa so often. I mean, do you own a condo here, Desmond?
I'm about to tell you, I hope they got my condo ready for me, all cleaned up and make sure the linen is fresh.
But no, I mean, I'm just kidding. I mean, you guys are here quite often. I mean, it's quite often, at least a couple of times a year. And I don't think, I may be wrong. Somebody else may have, but since 2008 or 2007, I got to go back and get this stat. No, College Game Day, you guys have been no other place more than you've been to Tuscaloosa, Alabama. I think that stat still is up there. I think that is it, and I hope I'm right with that.
It's probably a direct correlation to the arrival of Nick Saban in Tuscaloosa too. So I'm sure there's something
no doubt.
there Yeah, exactly.
Well, let me ask you, being involved in college football for the length of time that you've been involved, now with ESPN Game Day for several years, I think, is this 10th, 11th, 12th, something like that for you?
Oh, yeah. I've been, my first year was 2005.
Okay, but going in, can you help us understand the growth and the popularity that you've been a part of just to watch college football get to the level that it is right now with the popular? It's never been more popular than it is right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's been actually pretty amazing to watch the growth of it. It's now $1 billion industry, and I was thinking the other day, like, man, I think college football is just about on every major network right now. I mean, they have a TV deal with just about every major network. I mean, it's on CBS. The SEC is on CBS. Notre Dame is on NBC. Obviously, we have ABC and ESPN. We got Fox. They have a TV deal. So now it's on every major network, which is mind blowing. But that's how big it is. It's $1 billion industry, but they don't want to pay the players.
All right. How do you get on TV? Everybody out there wants to know, as far as these signs. Can you give us some advice to create a sign that can get them on television? I mean, do you have any advice for those out there listening that are saying, I'm trying to create that ultimate sign where I can get my face and my sign on ESPN?
I don't have any ideas, to be completely honest with you, but if you watch the show, I would just say pay attention. Look at the ones that make air. And, some signs, they make air on our show, and then they have a life after our show. Like other people start to talk about their signs too. So yeah, you just got to watch the show and pay attention. Pay attention to the trends out there. That's what you do. No doubt. And what a great job you guys do of promoting the game of college football. As you know, we talk it 52 weeks out of the year. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.